right, welcome everyone to Monday Re Tsene with Pretoria Psychologists. Obviously, this is very new. This is our first video that we are doing on Monday series. So this is just to give you some nuggets for the week, for you to be able to have skaftininyana sabeke. So we'll be tackling many issues related to mental health, obviously, because we are psychologists. So that is our specialty, to deal with your emotions and how you can best be able to then cope with different things that are happening. So meaning that you as our viewers, you as our participant, you are very welcome to give us input into any topic that you want us to tackle in the future, that you feel it's very relevant, it's very current, if you feel that we are not being current with you. But obviously we cannot cater for everybody at the same time, but be sure that we will definitely get there once we get there. So here in today's show, we are going to be looking at the teacher's emotions. And why I am looking at the teacher's emotions is because, in the past 2 weeks or so, teachers have gone back to school in teaching in circumstances that they have not found themselves before doing. It's a very different environment, especially because they are not frontline workers. With us psychologists, we do understand to work while the crisis is still on, because we are essential workers or frontline workers. We are equipped to deal with crises in different environments. But for teachers, I think it has become quite an overwhelming, and this I have found out once the teachers open on the 1st of June and also on the 8th of June, where I was inundated with questions, I was inundated with comments, and just to say, please help us, because we are not healthcare workers, we are not healthcare practitioners. What happens when a student in our classroom is infected, or we find out that somebody is infected? What do we do in such a circumstances, because we are not necessarily equipped to deal with it? So today it's really about settling you, it's about settling your emotions and helping you to navigate this situation where it's still going to be uncertain for a while. I think we have had, since the schools opened back then a month ago on the 1st of June and also on the 8th of June, many schools also closing again because of the infections, and it's thousands and thousands of schools across the country. So actually maybe it's a blessing that your school is not yet closed, because it means things are still under control, and that you can still rest assured that you yourself are not exposed to the COVID-19. Obviously, the pandemic, it's novel because we have not yet gotten the vaccine, we have not yet gotten the cure, so it makes a lot of people still panic still. So what I want to say is that because teachers are now forced to behave, do think differently than they will have otherwise done. You as a teacher, most of the time you deal with things of discipline. You deal with making sure that homework is done. You deal with making sure that you have covered the curriculum. You are not necessarily equipped with dealing with, is the surface sanitized? Are the people healthy, and so on. So what I want you to do is, in your overwhelmness, in your anxiety, in your panic, I want you to list things that you can control and things that you don't have control of. So I want to give an example of things that you cannot control. So things that you cannot control will be teaching in this pandemic. That you cannot control because the Minister of Basic Education has made an announcement that teachers go back to your classes so that we can finish this academic year successfully. So that you cannot control. There are many things that we cannot control. We cannot control the spread of the virus. We cannot control who goes where once they are outside the premises of the school. school. So those are the things that I want you to list as things that you cannot control. Think about them, and I also want you to pause and take a moment. So as I said, divide the list into two: things that you can control and things that you cannot control. So things that you cannot control, I want you to start to surrender them, because remember, you don't have control of that. You know, you can imagine on a cold day somebody wishing that the cold was not there. You are not helping much. But by wearing a jacket, something that you can control, then you are actually helping yourself to control the situation with something that is outside your control. So teaching, it's outside your control. The spread of the virus, it's outside your control, but there are things that are in your control. So in your list of things that you can control, I want you to also tackle them one by one, step by step. Don't take all of the things that you can control and start tackling them. So an example in the classroom setting as a teacher, it will be making sure that the children in your care are properly sanitized, they are properly screened, that you are able to control. Obviously, you cannot control the fact that they are screened somewhere else or Baba Roma Shopong somewhere else. That you cannot control, but the fact that they are screened and their temperature is okay for them to be in class, that you can definitely control. Another thing that you can control, especially because other great teachers, you were forced to teach the grades that you have not taught before. So the grade 8, you know, the grade 6 and 7, you are forced to teach grade 8. The grade 12, they are forced to be taught by grade 10 and grade 11, or even the lower grade teachers. So the teachers that were not used to, I want you to prepare yourself to be in class as if, you know, this is the last thing you can ever do. I find it even with myself as a lecturer, I teach. I found that when I am prepared, my anxiety is under control. I am less overwhelmed with the work. I am able to confront and see the situation not as a big monster that it was when I'm not prepared versus when I am prepared. So the preparedness brings with it a lot of ease. So you are going to take those things and make sure that the things that you can control, you take them step by step to say, okay, step 1, I can control making sure that the children in my room are sanitized, they are screened. I can control the fact that I come prepared, even taking care of yourself. So that is why I say, make sure that you are sanitized and your environment before the others. That we call self-care, and I will talk about that in the episode where I talk about parenting, because self-care is one of the most important things to apply when you are taking care of others. Most of the time we make this sacrificial caring of others and not look at how to care for ourselves, and that is when we become overwhelmed because we are depleted, we are under-resourced. As I said, I will go into more details. I think it will be an episode 3 weeks time from now. So tune in and listen into the more details of how I unpack this self-care thing, because most people think that self-care is being selfish. So to take away for today's session is to divide up things that you can control and things that you cannot. You cannot control the fact that you are feeling anxious, and emotion is normal. Panicking is normal. But once you behave, you do things that help you to panic less, then you feel like you are under control yourself, you know, by taking deep breaths, by doing things that you can see that it helps. And also surrendering, giving it to God, you know, by prayer, by having faith that this too shall pass. Yes, we are in all this together in different levels, of course, but you know, when we surrender to a power that is higher than ourselves, then we realize that once we have surrendered, that it eases a burden of having to care so much about something that we don't have an entire control over. So having said that, Please, teachers, share with us, since you have opened a month ago, what has helped you to ease your negative emotions? What has helped you to cope on a day-to-day? Because I think other teachers might be out there and looking at, others that are doing well and thinking, how are they doing it? So I want to hear from you. Leave your comments below in the comments button. For those who have questions, even after this, you can post your question. I'll be sure to answer them, and any of my team of psychologists in this Pretoria Psychologists. And for more information on any of the topics that we're still going to have in the future, be sure to tune in into our YouTube channel or go to www.pretoriapsychologists.co.za for more information. Hope to see you next week, Monday, as we say, Monday Re Tsene with Pretoria Psychologists. Thank you. Bye.